What's up, folks? Zen here. It is Sunday, September 11th, around 11:30 in the afternoon, about 85 degrees. Yesterday it started heating up. It hit 92 again. But the good thing is, about 3 days earlier, we had thunderstorms, and it actually rained steadily for about 3 hours. So that was much needed. If you want to take a look, those familiar with what I have in my orchard have heard me talk about my poor dying apple tree many times, and it finally toppled over. This happened about a month ago. I was going to shoot an update on it, but didn't get around to it. The funny thing about shooting these updates, doing videos now, I only seem to be motivated when I'm baked. So, I am slightly baked right now. The problem with being motivated to do stuff and the irony of it all is that you want to do a lot of things, but then you end up being too baked to really get much done. So let's see if we can get through this update in a suitable professional fashion. So yeah, the tree toppled over, and it was just not too long before it toppled over that I was saying, man, I should think about trying to balance this tree. I wonder when it might topple over because it hadn't completely died. There were a few branches that were still putting forth leaves, and I managed to air layer one of them. So I'm growing that out in a pot. So there is a scion or a legacy for this tree that was put in by my father, this apple tree. But what surprised the hell out of me, I mean, it toppled over and I didn't even hear it. So, whatever that philosophical question is, if a tree falls down but you didn't hear it, did it really fall down? Well, this one fell down. But just came out to find it completely fallen down. It had fallen actually over this section, it was pointing in this direction. And the amazing thing is, this dragon fruit cactus is so strong that when this tree fell in this direction, it actually pulled the pot off the ground. So the pot was hanging, okay, basically by its main stem and was just dangling on the side of this stump. And it didn't affect my cactus whatsoever. In fact, I wanted to shoot an update because I had about 10 dragon fruit on this, and it would have looked beautiful. But an incident happened about 2 days ago, and my brother came over, and I gave him a bunch of the dragon fruit for his wife. My mother passed away 2 days ago, September the 3rd. But at least before she passed, she got to enjoy some fresh, nice, big jujubes. The jujubes are the largest this year they've ever been in the 3 years that I've been here. And if anybody wants to hear more about my mother and my relationship with her, feel free to check out the ZTGS little series of recordings I did. She's gone now. It's just me in this house full of ghosts. Good thing I don't really believe in that stuff, or else, I'd be wigged out since my father passed away here, my elder brother passed away here, and now my mother passed away in this house. And I'm definitely not going to be the last one in here. I'm probably going to rehabilitate this house, grow out my fruit trees, and then figure out what to do with myself and then skedaddle. What the hell am I going to do? One person in a place like this. And I don't even like jujubes. But I'm going to be gathering these and giving them to people. So that's the Jujube Tree. And if you can hear that, that's my new neighbor's dog, Bentley, who has a fondness for me. This is my... See? I'm so high I don't even remember how to say the name of this. It's a Pinkerton. Now I know it's a Pinkerton, but I was about to flip this card just to remember what the hell tree this was. And that's the problem. When you get baked, you start forgetting lots of things. But the Pinkerton is still alive. I'm glad I was able to shoot this now with all of its new growth because it dropped a ton of leaves. This Pinkerton is very susceptible to salt burn, and since our tap water is salty, it was dropping a lot of really completely burnt out leaves. And usually during the year when it does rain, I will collect it. See, that's my little rain collection apparatus for when there was a thunderstorm. I will collect rainwater and give this nothing but rainwater. In the absence of rainwater, I fill these barrels with water. I pH them down to about 6.5, and then I let the chlorine and the chloride gas out, but it does nothing for the salt. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Good thing is all the growers here in Southern California have to deal with that, and the trees will survive despite the high salt content in the water as long as it just keeps putting out new growth. Let me show you the little Jujube tree. Not Jujube, this is a Loquat. This is a Loquat tree from seed. It's got some leaf burn. It could be that I gave it it could be nutrient burn. Maybe I put too much liquid nutrient in there, and then it was attacked by aphids, which I sprayed off. So it's not looking too good, but it's still alive. So this is the Loquat tree dedicated to my newborn nephew, Ethan. His mother loves loquats, and so that is the tree. It was germinated in June, which is when Ethan was born. Now check out my Filipino or Manila Mango tree. Okay. I originally topped this tree and it grew 3 stems, and one of them got attacked by aphids and wilted. So this stem never became anything. But if I want to do some top work and maybe graft a new variety, I'll probably graft it there on that stem, the stem that died. These are the 2 other stems that are growing. This one was topped, so I've got multiple branches coming out. This one, I'm waiting for it to grow one more segment before I top it. But look at all the new growth along the trunk. I've never seen this before in any other mango videos, so maybe I haven't watched enough of them. But it just started sprouting growth like crazy along the trunk. And these are all new branches, so I'm very happy. This thing's going to turn into a big bush, a big mango bush. So that's the mango tree. This is the pear tree, 3-in-1 pear. They call it a 3-in-1 pear, but I don't know what the third one is. It's actually a 2-in-1 because it's got the Chojuro Asian pear variety and then the Bartlett variety. It did not fruit this year. It had a few blossoms, but they didn't develop into fruit. Last year, it held about 6-7 little pearlets, which maybe I shouldn't have let it form fruit. And some of the pears actually snapped a couple of branches, which was a mistake I made. And the other ones grew out to be about little 3-inch, 4-inch pears, which were quite tasty. But this year, no pears. The guava tree has already got guava forming on it. And yesterday I noticed a few new guava blossoms, so it's still flowering as well. But this tree is reliable. This tree is a producer. I never have any issues of this tree holding fruit. So it's got a ton of guavas, and they keep getting bigger each year. I've been down here about 3 years now, and because of my attention to them and the feeding of worm tea, compost tea, the fruit is definitely getting bigger. Last year, the guavas were the biggest I've ever seen since the 3 years I've been down here. And this year, we've got monstrous jujubes. I mean, look at the size of that jujube. Okay, generally, man, I'm going to start giving them out to neighbors. It's too bad that, it's not that I don't like jujubes. They're all right. I just don't have the teeth for them anymore. Got to get mine fixed since I got my front teeth smashed in a car accident. and I never got around to repairing them. This is my second attempt at growing the Japanese pumpkins. I can't think of the name right now, but you see them in the grocery stores. They're the little green pumpkins that are about that size, and you can make wonderful soups and stews with them. I tried growing them out in like March, trying to get them to be able to fruit and grow right before the summer heat hit, but the summer heat hit and they didn't fare well. They were growing on this mound over here, but they all perished. One of them actually fruited, but I got like a really small, it was like a tomato, size of a tomato, pumpkin out of only one of the probably 8 plants that I grew in this thing. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I may turn this into like a vegetable pit. I basically threw a bunch of compost and decomposing leaves on top of it, but I haven't been watering it frequently, so that may have killed all the benefits of the compost. It's just probably soil and dirt right now, but got to think about whether I want to put another tree in here or just keep this empty for the next tenants of this place, the next owners of this place, to figure out what kind of a tree they want. So that's where my Japanese pumpkins were. Pomegranate tree didn't fruit that much this year. It's probably only got like maybe 10 pomegranates on it. So it could be that this pomegranate tree is alternate bearing as well. And I'm actually still waiting for them to ripen, which is curious because I always remember harvesting these things at the end of July and during August, and we're already in September, and I haven't harvested a single pomegranate off of this bush yet. Here's my little random vegetable patch with random vegetables that I've tried to grow that have died. The only thing that's still living here is a basil plant, a couple pepper plants that have never really grown any decent size, and my poor ailing tree kale, which gets attacked by aphids like crazy. And I haven't really been giving them any real nutrients. I've just been giving them water. And so I probably should be giving them more kelp emulsion and stuff so they can leaf out. But it's also really not the season for them. I don't think they really like the heat that much. But earlier in the year, they're putting out nice big green leaves, which I would cook up in stews and make ham hocks and collard greens with. This is the Mandarin Orange tree that I completely rejuvenated. I thought this tree was dying. I was thinking about taking it out. I actually turned off the water for it for an entire summer to kill it. And it still survived when the rains came back. And this year, it's actually holding oranges, mandarins. They're starting to slightly yellow up now. But, yeah, I'm really happy the fact that I completely rejuvenated this Mandarin Orange tree. These are my 2 blueberry bushes. I got a second one. I had a companion blueberry bush to this main one, but that one died, and I got a different variety. This one fruited this year. Got probably a handful of blueberries off of it. This is the pomegranate branch that I took off and stuck it in a pot, and it actually rooted. So I've got a backup to that pomegranate tree. These are sucker branches coming out of the ground for this persimmon. The persimmons are starting to ripen up, and that's another odd thing because I'm used to the persimmons ripening up a couple weeks earlier than they are now, and I have not yet harvested one single persimmon off this tree. But that's the suckers, and I'm hoping this develops into a tree on its own, because all these trees are about 30 years old, 25 to 30 years old, and they can go at any time, as you can tell by that apple tree, but that was neglected and not taken care of properly. That's why it toppled over. The grapefruit tree is still recovering from a year and a half ago when it suffered from chlorosis and it had major leaf drop. There were barely any flowers this year, so there are no grapefruit. It actually held maybe 3 baby grapefruits, but I just pulled them off. This year I'm letting this tree recover. So that is the grapefruit tree. This is my UC 157 asparagus. Still coming out thin and straggly and sparing. Just could be a bad location. They've been in this plot for about 3 years now, 2 years now, and this is probably the largest spear that's come up. And this is the first time a spear has been large enough and mature enough to actually form asparagus berries, which hold seeds. So that's good, because there's a couple sections where nothing's come up in about like a year, so I figured the crowns have died, so I'll be able to, you know, put a couple more seeds in this area, because I basically staggered them. I have a section here, there should be a section here, there's a section here, there should be a section here, so these 2 sections, nothing's come up. And then, well, actually, oh, I've never noticed that before. This section's still alive. Well, that's good. So I think about 2 crowns have probably died. And so, you know, it'll be good to put some more seeds in that area. Hopefully, eventually, I'll be getting some edible spears coming out. So, never once had an edible spear come out of this asparagus section. And I've never had a plum yet. These things have been here. This thing's been here like maybe a year. This is the Dapple Dandy. This one's been here for 2 years. This is the Flavor King, and also 2 years, but it's only been in the ground 1 year. This is the Asian Beauty Plum, which was originally intended to pollinate the Flavor King, but the Asian pear flowers at different times other than what it's actually supposed to do. So to ensure pollination, I got the Dapple Dandy, but nothing got pollinated this year. The bees just don't care for the blossoms. So this coming summer, I suppose what I'm going to have to do is do some hand pollinating. The flowers are very small and very delicate. I don't even see any pollen on them, but I will try to gather pollen and use a paintbrush and pollinate it, because I mean, it's ridiculous. This tree, at least being at over 2 years in the ground, should be holding fruit by now, and it has plenty of blossoms. I mean, when they were in bloom, they were covered in blossoms, but no fruit. And of course, my other goodies, which will be harvested in about a month's time, which I really won't mention because I don't want to have to age restrict this video. I think I pretty much covered everything, and I did it without completely stumbling. I think my buzz is actually fading away. I actually did a little smoking this time. Usually I like edibles, but once I take edibles, man, I'm gone. Once it starts kicking in and I can't really concentrate and I sit down and I can't move, there's no getting me to do anything. But at least with a puff or two, I was able to come out and do this. I think I'll do a video talking about my mom and her passing, and the fact that she said that I would miss her, and I slightly do. I mean, it was kind of weird yesterday being completely alone in the house. At least I've got my cat to keep me company, but I do miss giving her fruit from my tree. But she was able to try the new figs, which she's never had before, fresh figs, and she's had dragon fruit, which she's never had before. So she got to enjoy the fruit before she passed. And I was actually kind to her for her last couple days as I was by her bedside taking care of her. So she didn't die alone. She died with a loved one. I do love my mom, even though I just couldn't live with her. And now I don't have to. But I think I may do one more ZTGS episode, and we'll get more into family issues for those of you who follow along, those of you who don't completely condemn me for being a woman hater and a mother hater. Those of you who understand that there are just some crazy, completely idiotic women in life that are dangerous. Very dangerous. Anyways, happy fall. Upcoming fall, but this will be my summer update. Cheers, everybody.